The last couple of weeks, I've been seeing videos pop up in my YouTube feed talking about, gaming is dying, or why gaming isn't fun anymore, or the AAA gaming industry is collapsing, or even the video game collapse is here for another round. Those kind of video titles I've seen. And while watching some of them, I do agree with some of their points, in that more on the bigger budget AAA scene. I don't think gaming as a whole is dying. I mean, it's not like the gaming crash from the 80s, which that's a whole topic in and of itself if you have the time to do your own research and see that information. But I don't think we're going to get anywhere close to that again, where we're literally going to see an entire industry die. Because gaming has grown too big at that point, or at this point, rather. And to put it bluntly, I do at least agree with the point that AAA is dying. Because, I mean, you just have to look at so many examples that have come out in the last, 10 or so years. I've been watching, since I was in high school, video game trends and how things have come and go, games that have had terrible launches. And a large majority of the time, at least in recent memory, rather, these games just had terrible launches to missing content, to clearly rushed development. And that's still the case to this day when it comes to especially PC ports with terrible optimization, to where now, with the rise of frame generation and DLSS and FSR, which they are huge technical milestones in of itself and what they've brought to optimization, but the developers are now using that as an excuse to not have to optimize their games nearly as well. Because it's like, oh, we'll just slap in FSR or DLSS and it'll be fine. Screw the other graphics cards. You need an RTX card. But that isn't the only thing I've noticed, in that also there's been corruption, greed. I mean, you have to look at, if you remember Battlefront 2 in 2017 and how that launched with the loot box scandal, which literally started a whole movement to basically be against loot boxes. Which, thankfully, those are gone, but now we have a new problem of just overpriced bundles. Like, the best example I can give is Call of Duty. I mean, seriously. $20 for a skin, a gun blueprint. Because you even can tell in recent memory, or rather recent games, that a lot of these bundles are getting smaller and smaller with less and less content in them, and you're just like, this is not still worth $20. It's just really corrupt greed kind of things. And don't even get me started on GTA Online. Honestly, that is the main reason why I am not excited whatsoever for GTA 6, among another reason I'll bring up soon. But, you talk about optimization, greed, and, yeah, you can see that the AAA space is dying. But in the last couple of years, it's really been political influence that has really been hurting games. And, which I've been watching very closely, and as much as I want to say a lot of these games are woke, or as they say, diversity, equity, and inclusion influenced, or DEI. Then you got the Sweet Baby Inc. stuff. I mean, yeah, there's clearly a push for political influence, which there's no problem or issue having, video games touch on political subjects and ideas, but when you're shoving it in so harshly and so blatantly, people catch on. And it's gotten to the point now where this last year, any game or any developer that even remotely tries to interject anything political and they talk about it on X or, their social media or press releases with gaming journalists, the game a good chunk of the time does underperform. And, or rather, in the case of Starfield that I like to bring up, it really, it has this great start off in sales, pre-orders, but then eventually it starts to fall off heavily and sharp downward to where it just, you could tell that they've lost quite a bit of money. There's clearly a huge discrepancy between people that bought the game at release and the amount of sales that happen over time, which is a natural thing that happens. But when you compare it to other games, there is a point where the game will still be making consistent sales, but not to have a harsh drop off the way Starfield did, if that hopefully makes sense. And, as I said, I don't have a problem with my games getting political, but if it's so clear that it's one-sided and that there's no room for making you think about it, or thinking about both sides, yeah, that's not really a fair thing to bring. And, I mean, again, you can just see that with so many new games coming out to where you're just like, what the heck is going on? Why why are games doing this? You know what I mean? You're just like, why are games going down this road? And, you know, it seems to be only the AAA scene, I'd say for the most part, like 8 or 9 times out of 10. Because the other industry that's been doing very well is the indie scene. And what I find so amazing and great to me is the fact that indie games are coming out like crazy that are doing such amazing strides. And it's just great to see that. I mean, there's so many I could even talk about that I don't know if I'd be able to do it all justice, but I mean, one of the more successful ones I like to bring up is Black Mesa. I mean, Black Mesa basically started off as a mod for Half-Life 2 to hopefully remake the original Half-Life 1, but now it's turned into a full-on project that's considered to be one of the best success stories of, you know, indie game developments. I mean, and then you've got even, you know, something like Lies of P that comes to mind, which is a From Software Dark Souls-like kind of game, but it is nearly on par with the From Software games, which is amazing to me. And then you got Ready or Not, you know, a sort of SWAT tactical kind of game that, you know, puts you in the boots as in the SWAT, and it's possibly a spiritual successor to the SWAT series. And then you also have a game like 6 Days in Fallujah, which for years ago was riddled in controversy, and that version more or less didn't see the light of day, but then was brought back, and now is a decent success. People really like it. This sort of random generation Iraqi-Afghanistan kind of war simulator that is just, it's amazing to me. But even a game like No Man's Sky made a comeback. Now No Man's Sky, nobody rips on that game anymore. And I remember in 2016, the amount of shit that game got. And it was just a mess of a game. It was just such a big mess of a game that you're just like, there's no way that this game has a future. And now look at it. They're still pushing out free content updates. It's just overall such a great picture to see. And like I said, I could go on and on about all these things I've seen in the indie scene. But the last point I want to make is that going back to the AAA space, you know, we've seen a lot of like lead developers in the AAA space quitting and making their own companies. I mean, there's some of the old Battlefield devs, they've been making the finals. You know, they branched off and started to do their own thing. I mean, you're even seeing I don't remember the specific game or studio, but some of the developers of the Mass Effect games, they broke off and they're making their own new Mass Effect kind of series with the same influence and art style direction, all that, just under a new name, obviously for copyright reasons. But it's just, you know, the old guard is leaving and making their own studios to kind of combat their dissatisfaction to how the AAA scene has turned into. And, you know, to kind of help close this video off, sadly, the AAA space, I do think is just going to keep getting worse. I mean, I feel like a game like GTA 6 is either going to make or break this industry. But really, I don't see the AAA space really getting, you know, banger after banger like it was in the, you know, mid to late 2000s and early 2010s. I don't think we're going to be seeing something like that again for quite a while. But I am optimistic, at least for the indie scene, because it's nice to see these smaller projects and, you know, bring a highlight to them. And I just think that's the best thing to do. And my advice I can really give to anyone is just, if you're really dissatisfied with the AAA scene and you're sick and tired of buying buggy, broken, or corrupt, greed, and horribly politically influenced games, then go check out the indie scene. There's a lot of games there that you'd be surprised. Or even go back and play older games too, because there's so many older games that are out to where it's like, you don't even need to play the newer stuff. That's just me being honest. I have so many other older games I could be playing, because I don't really much care for a lot of the newer games. So instead of me buying GTA 6, I'd rather play the original Watch Dogs again with all those mods and everything that they have. But that's all there really is to it. The AAA space may be dying. The indie scene, future's looking bright. So anyway, that's all I have for today's video. I do want to quickly point out, I have a sort of potential job update coming in the coming days. I don't think it's going to be Thursday's video, maybe Saturday's video, or maybe next Tuesday's video. But just wanted to give a quick update. I've been doing a lot of things to find something, and I'm looking forward to it because as much as I've enjoyed the unemployment period, and as much as I've been doing well for myself financially and preparing for it, I give it till March. If I have to keep doing this, then I'm going to start losing my mind because my sleep schedule hasn't been the best, and that's just because, in my mind at least, when you have so much free time, you kind of just feel like you don't have to do much of anything else, and it kind of just backs up your head with certain things. So I'm wanting to really get back on the ground running and working. So anyway, just wanted to give a quick update. Hopefully I'll have that video by next Tuesday of an actual update, or it might, to be its own separate video, or maybe it's just me mentioning a quick update at the beginning of the video, and we just move on to the next topic. But anyway, I'll see you guys Thursday, and have yourself a good day. If you liked the video, feel free to give a like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below if you have any ideas, or if you want to see anything else. As I said, feedback is always important. It lets me know what you guys want. So take care and have a nice day, and I'll see you Thursday.